Hi, I'm Daniel McKinley of Daniel McKinley Games and designer of Hit Me, and you're listening to The Legends of Tabletop.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in and checking this out and or listening later. You would think after 2.5 years I'd be pretty good at this, maybe. So I will say that this is the live stream for the podcast. So if you're listening to this later, you already know that. And maybe I'll just edit all this shit out because I'm rambling, but that's fine. But thanks to Danny for coming on again. We had you on about, I guess, over a year ago now for Excavate when that was on Kickstarter.
Yeah, it must have been. I think it was Gamma of 2016, I want to say.
I think it was like right
Or,
after RinCon because you like just launched the day of RinCon, I believe.
yeah, that was it. That was the day. So it was right after RinCon of 2016. So that was October-ish or November. That's
Something
when I
like
launched
that.
it.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're all dressed up in your dinosaur hunting outfit. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, when I had the excavation hat and I had the vest, and that was actually my dad's photography vest. It worked really well for the theme of the game.
Yeah, no,
I need
definitely look good.
index for the new one.
No, cool. So I ran into you again this year at RinCon again, ironically enough. And you had a couple of new games to show. How was RinCon for you? Did you have a good time?
Oh, RenCon was spectacular. I wanted to go make sure I went back. That's one of two conventions that I go to each year. I actually bumped up my schedule down to three, and that's one of the two local conventions, and then I only have one big convention I go to as well. So yeah, it was spectacular. I was really impressed. I ended up playing an RPG, and I'm not a big RPG player, but I ended up playing a prototype. And the guy's name is not coming to me right now, but he made Seven Seas. I don't know if you know that one.
John Wick.
John Wick, yeah. Oh man, he's an amazing DM.
Yeah.
Like I truly enjoyed a 4-hour prototype of an RPG
Was
as
it
a
the wrestling
non-RPG.
one?
No, I heard about that one though.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
wrestling one sounds amazing. I mean, I would totally be part of it. No, this was like a Wild West one where he did some really great techniques of developing characters. They had relationships between the characters, and I was just kind of the comic relief guy. I was a drunk that would just kind of show up and be annoying, but it worked really well. It was beautiful. So yeah, I enjoyed the convention. And then other than that, I was just trying to promote games. I think I only played maybe 2 or 3 board games
Hmm.
there. I played King Domino, which I decided to buy it.
Oh, okay,
Code
cool.
Wet, which I bought since then. Um, and I want to say I played oh no, I bought Escape, Curse of the Temple. It was on my list of ones to buy. So love that one.
Nice, nice. I
Yeah.
spent all weekend playing board games.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah, I got to try Terraforming Mars there. I played Shogun. No, yeah, Shogun.
Oh,
Which I wound up buying because Isla Games had it, and they had it for a while, and it was like $100, and I'm like, I don't know, like the theme is me, like I love it. I have like the video game version, which I guess is based off of that. I guess the Total War series.
uh-huh.
So I'm like, I don't know if I want to pull the trigger, and then we played like 2 turns, and I'm like, I'll be right back. And I ran over because they had it. I'm like, hey, put that behind the counter. I'm going to get it when this game is over in like 4 hours.
Oh, I love it when that happens. That was me with King Domino. I ended up playing it in their library, and I walked up and they were like, "Oh, it's only $18." And I was thinking, well, my local store is probably gonna get it. Just hold it for me. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Ran to my car. I was like, all right, I'll buy it. Like, darn it, that was a hard sell on me. I think I bought some clear meeples too. There's a guy who sells the components, and I forget where they're from, but
Andrew
yeah,
Long
I
is
bought.
Field Pro.
Oh, was it? Oh yeah,
Probably.
no, he does some great stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I'm assuming.
yeah,
There might have been other people selling components, but I know he had a bigger booth upstairs with nothing but components.
yeah. That was the one. That was the one. I mean, I couldn't give more thumbs up. Of course, as a game designer, you gotta have. I have like shelves and shelves of just pieces of stuff. Like no purpose to them whatsoever right now. But
Right.
yeah, stocked up on meeples and blank dice, and yeah,
That's cool.
good times.
I had Andrew on middle of December. We were talking about Arizona Game Fair that
Uh
he
huh.
puts on up there in Mesa. Are you coming out for that one, or is that one not on the schedule?
Oh, when is that?
It is February 9th and 10th, I believe.
Ooh.
9th, 10th, 11th. I could pull it up. I have to edit all
I,
this out then, I guess.
no, it wasn't one on the schedule yet because I think it's in Phoenix, right?
Yeah, it's in Mesa. I think it's at the Mesa Convention Center.
Yeah, that might be a little bit out of my driving range.
Yeah, it's a
But
little far.
Kickstarter goes really well, then I could fly everywhere.
You know, this I was gonna go last year, and then I was like, I don't know, I want to drive all the way up there, and then you got to stay, and it becomes like a whole big thing. And then I was like, you know what? So screw it, I'm gonna go. Like,
Yeah.
you know, we have so many awesome conventions here in Arizona,
Yeah.
that it's stupid not to go.
Right, exactly. And I assume you're talking even board game conventions because you have amazing conventions right now. In New Mexico, um, we don't have board game conventions at all. Uh, we have one in El Paso, Border City Con. I'm going to give them a shout out because I like them. It's a super small convention, but they're just really good guys who run it. And yeah, we have like a couple of Comic Cons, ran
Right.
by Via Comics, and they do an amazing job, at least in the South End. But that's all we got. So I'm kind of envious. I'm not gonna lie, John.
I was surprised when I looked. I'm like, shit, we have like 8 conventions here just relating to board games, RPGs, and then there's TuskCon, which is a sci-fi book convention.
That's
I don't
You
think.
guys have the best names too for conventions. TuskCon, RinCon. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah. I think they had George R. R. Martin. I would say last year 17. It might have been 16.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, damn, I should go. But I haven't made it through the books. And I'm like, hey, I watch your show on TV. I'm like, the fuck out of here. Like, I'm sure that's not what he wants to hear when you come to the book conventions. I watch your thing on HBO.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's like, well, he didn't technically write that, and it's different now. But
Yeah, yeah.
I saw an interview with him once where he actually said the last thing he wants people to tell him about is stuff about the show. Because he lives up in Santa Fe. Like I saw a picture of his house, and it has a little castle as a mailbox. Other
Oh,
than that,
nice.
it's a super normal house. And he said that he'd rather talk like sports or like he'll let you buy him a beer, and that's about it. It's like, what?
I guess it's one of those things like when you license that out, and I don't know if he executive produces or whatever, but you know, you lose a certain amount of control because they're telling a different story in a different medium. That
Right.
has to be frustrating. I imagine even when he cashes that check, it's got to be somewhat bittersweet. It's like, no, that's not how it goes.
Right. Yeah, exactly. No, but oh well. I
Yeah.
mean, I he seems to be pretty awesome about it. Like it looks like he's one of those writers where it's like, yeah, it's like, well, even though I made the property, have fun with it. You're paying me good money to enjoy yourself, not for me to be a critic over it. It's
Right.
kind of how I am with my games. If a company license it, then you bought the game. You're buying the rights to it. Who am I
Right.
to tell you don't do that to my game unless it's like super drastic?
Right. Well, that's what I was going to say. There's a corollary to then game designers. If you're, either in development or, like you say, if you, sell a license and the company's like, yeah, we know you had this theme, but we're just going to do it this way instead. It's got and maybe development, not so much, but certainly in a licensing aspect, it's like, yeah, but it's not what I envisioned when I made it.
Yeah. I made this really bloody war game. Oh, we're gonna put Care Bears on it. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's like, oh, you changed machine guns to hugs. Okay, well, whatever. Why not?
Well, that makes sense nowadays too. I can see that.
Right? We're gonna murder your face with friendship. Excuse me. I have
So,
a big allergy. Sorry.
what have you been up to in the last, year since the prior Incon, and now the next couple of months? I know you've been working on Hit Me and getting that Kickstarter all put together and putting all
Yep.
those ducks in a row. So, what have you been up to?
Oh man, so many games. So I started a meetup over the summer
Cool.
for game developers because we actually have a few here in town. The Carla, William Baker. Yeah,
What's going on in here?
Hey, come on in.
Hey,
How's it going?
Hey, sorry. Come on in. Have a seat, guys. Sorry. This is the illustrator that I was telling you about. And this is
Austin. Nice to meet you.
Austin. Nice to meet you.
Yes,
First time I'm meeting her too.
Yes.
So. All right. So, but yeah, what I've been up to is I've just been designing a lot of games. I put together that prototype group partially as a blatant excuse for me to get prototype players, and that wasn't the main excuse, but I mean,
it was a good one nonetheless.
Well, we found out that we had so many game developers in town, it just made sense. So since then, I think I've made about 3 or 4 new games that I have on the Game Crafter now, that have been worked out. And then Hit Me has been my main development right now. So yeah, busy, to say the least.
Sweet. And we should say that the links are in the show notes for all the things for both the Great Game Crafters page, obviously links for the show notes, and you're fully funded already, which is fantastic. It's only been a few days.
Stretch goal.
Yeah, 42 hours in,
and we're like less than $100 away from our second stretch goal now.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. We're trugging along. We were at a board game convention or a board game meetup.
Yeah.
Last night when it hit funding, and I'm sure the owner was probably super annoyed by us just yelling, "Woohoo! Everybody party!"
There was much rejoicing.
Yeah.
Yay!
So it was good times.
Awesome. That's cool. Well, let's talk about the game a little bit. So, Hit Me is the name of the game. Why don't you tell us what's it all about?
Okay, so Hit Me is the name of the game. I see it's coming in. Sorry. Hit Me is the name of the game where you are comic book characters in a comic book style fist fight punching each other in the face. That's the main concept. It is a press your luck game. So if you played blackjack or any other push your luck games, Yahtzee, whatever, you know how the basics of this work. And that's why we call it Hit Me, is because, blackjack, hit me, I want another card.
Yep.
That's how the basic mechanism of it works. So what's cool is you start off with, everybody has a deck of cards. It's called their life cards. And there's a deck of cards in the middle called the hit cards. They all have the same back, but you start off with these 12 cards, which are pretty simple. As you're playing, you draw from the hit deck. That's it.
Yep.
You want hit cards to punch each other in the face. Hit cards are good. If you get trips, those are bad. Those might make you bust. And whiffs don't actually do anything. There's a couple of whiff cards. Other than you send a message, you can put it intimidatingly in front of other players.
You don't do anything unless you have specific characters.
Right. Unless you have specific characters or some expansion add-ons. And then so what happens is, as you're playing hit cards against other players, pressing your luck trying to get more and more hits while hopefully not getting trips, the more hits you get, the more cards they discard from their life decks. Well, their life decks show how much life they have. So in a 2-player game, there's 40 cards. You have 20 life each. If Trevor here and I were playing and he made me discard 2 or 3 cards, well, then that goes into a communal discard pile along with all the cards that were played. The reason all this matters is because the cards in our life deck way better than the ones that are in the starting deck. So as more damage is being dealt, the game starts accelerating. I call it communal deck building because in a way, you're rebuilding that same deck. Once the deck runs out and the 12 cards, then you reshuffle it and continue from there.
And then all those awesome or horrible cards get shuffled back into the hit deck for you to continue to punch your friends in the face.
Yep, even more and more. So that's the basis of the base game. So yeah.
And explain that a little bit. So the starter deck has like basic cards. Should it be like a hit ×1, a trip ×1, where the life deck's going to have hit ×2, hit ×3, blocks, and some of the other things that are going to, amp up that action as you get, lower and lower in life. The stakes get higher and higher.
Yeah, exactly. And one of my favorite cards that I have a couple copies of, we have hit ×3. So you're seeing like hit ×2, hit ×3, so it's going to start bumping up. But then you see a trip ×2. And everybody immediately, as soon as they see that go into the discard pile, you go, oh no, oh no. Because now you can no longer wait till you have 2 trips there. If you have 1 trip, you're like, oh man, there's one of those in there. I know it's in there. How dare you do this to me? So
nice.
Yeah.
So 3 trips will end your turn. So it's like bust on blackjack. So it's like hitting 22.
Exactly.
So that's kind of where the push your luck comes in. You see 1, you're like, oh, I'm good to go. But then once you get a trip times 2 or trip times 3, you're like, oh crap. Do I want to push that? Because then if you trip out, all of the hits that were dispersed then go to you. So
Yes,
first, 4 hits on the table, you lose 4 cards right out of your deck.
Exactly. It's not just your turn is over. That's too nice. I made it so once you hit 3 trips, all of the damage you were potentially doing comes right back at you, and that's how many cards you discard.
Yep.
So if I had a big combo ready of like 5 or 6, maybe even up to like 10. How much was it the other day that we had?
17 in a turn.
It's in one turn.
I think it was posted on the Well Played Facebook page. It's like, this doesn't seem physically possible.
Yeah.
Who shuffled these cards?
Right?
I did.
Yeah. Almost half of all the players at the meetup just like stopped and ran over to the table. Like, are you serious? 17 damage in one turn. Yeah. and not only that too. I mean, not only do you have the fancier hits, you have a few other cards like blocks, where if you play a block, you discard the last hit card you played because the other player blocks it. Makes sense. And then you have a counter, which I will show you in a moment once I find it. I know this is really great for airtime.
The deck is shuffled. So
yeah, they are shuffled.
Bear with us.
Yep, we have a counter, which is the opposite. You discard the last trip card. So if you're sitting on a trip times 2, then it's real pleasant to see that. And then finally, combo, where you
combo.
You cannot choose to stop. You must play your next 2 cards, which is hilarious.
Yeah. Stop.
Everybody's like, yeah, I got a combo, and it's totally bad for them.
No, that's bad. Sorry, you fool. What have you done?
That's awesome. And that's it. And play goes around the table, and you'll flip cards until you tap out, and then people will take that damage. They'll discard cards from their life pile, and play goes to the next person until there's one person left standing.
Exactly.
Or
woman. True. Yep. Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. No. As long as there's one player left with life remaining, it's good.
Or as we found out, 5-year-old.
Yeah.
Last 5-year-old. Who was talking mad trash the whole time. Awesome.
You gotta start him early.
He did 7 damage to his dad, and I was like, "Do you know what you're doing?" And he just looked at his dad. He's like, "I'm gonna jack you up." I was like, "Really? Dude, you're 5."
It's like, you gotta look at him and go.
Yeah. What you don't know is that kid goes home and plays Halo and is just on air like, I'm gonna this and that.
Right, exactly.
Thank you.
There you go.
And he would have better reflexes than me probably too.
Probably, right? Yeah. The hand-eye coordination. No, those kids lit up when they saw how the game worked, and
they played it like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, at least.
It's great.
And I heard them murmuring to each other. It's like, Dad, can we buy this? Can we buy this? He was like, yeah, we can't buy it at this moment, but we'll back it.
Well, and that's a beautiful thing about Kickstarter is because the campaign is now already funded, it's basically a pre-order system. So you're guaranteed that you're going to get the game. Mm-hmm. Now we just wait until the 31st when the campaign finishes, and then we get to hit print. Yeah. So at this point, it's like, the beauty of it is, even if you don't have the money right now, you can always back it, and then it won't charge until the campaign finishes. At which point, then it'll collect the funds and stuff. And actually, there's even like a 7-day grace period. So if you're like, oh, I don't get paid until like 2 days after it finishes, it's fine. Just go back it and don't miss out, because you could be a part of history, the sweeping the nation.
It's cool. Yeah, it plays in a 5 or 10 minutes. I can see the kids being like super into it because it has like the old '66 Batman, the pow kind of like that sort of graphic imagery with it, which is and it's bright and it's colorful. Like, it's simple, but it works for what it is. It's a filler game. So somebody's late to the D&D session, or like, hey, I'm going to be there in 10 minutes. Boom, you whip it out and play 2-3 games to hit me while you're waiting for somebody to show up. You throw it in your backpack. I mean, I love small filler games because you could take them anywhere. You just stick them in a cargo pants pocket. You stick them in your book bag. You know, I carry around, I call it my man bag. I have a book bag or, you know, knapsack that I take with me everywhere. And usually it's full of games. So.
Right. That's my trunk. That's my man bag.
Gamers know nothing about man bags. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
There's probably hit me in there, right?
Yes. Double sleeved. I'm not an animal.
That's cool. And so you've got the you know, the base game is the 40 cards and the all that stuff. But already with even like when the Kickstarter started, boom, we've got 2 expansions ready to go. So you want to tell us about those?
Sure, yeah. So each expansion, there's the League of Just Us. You know, the standard comic fare. There's no copyright stuff in here, but I'll show you anyway. Both expansions, the League of Just Us and the second expansion, the Marvelous Expansion.
X-Pansion.
Yeah. They all have colored hits, whiffs, and shields. And the way they work, it's kind of showing up with the sleeves. Yeah, green. Now, the way they work is they just work like hits or whiffs, hit times ones, like any other hits or whiffs if somebody else draws it. But if you draw one of your own color, it adds a hit to it. So it benefits the player that has it. Also, they shuffle into your life deck, so you have more life, so you can play it a little bit longer. Now, your shield is like a one-time big nope card. If Trevor was dealing damage to me, like let's say 15 damage in one turn, once per game, I flip it over, prevent all the damage. It's a one-time use, but that's your survival.
It's just that, like, and that's what happened last night. Was someone had 17 damage, and all of a sudden he's like, "Yeah, I'll stop there." And the guy went, "Oh, okay, I'll use my shield." And just like stared at him. So it's my turn next, right? And then he went on.
Yeah,
it's just like, oh, ouch.
Right.
Nice.
You get 4 sets of those per expansion, and each expansion you get 4 characters.
Right. I have the map if it helps it show up better on camera.
Oh, that's okay. I'll just read them off. The League of Just Us has Amazonia, which if you're a Magic the Gathering player, you know, like the scry technique kind of. That's kind of what she does. You look at the top 3 cards, you can choose any of them to discard, which is awesome, and you put them back in any order. And so I've seen people, if they have like nothing but trips, they're like, okay, cool. They put it back. They're like, your turn. It's like, wait, what? Like, why would you? Like, I don't know what you're doing here. Then we have Beefy Dude, who's the big bovine.
The bovine of iron.
Yeah, the bovine of iron.
Because some people have a man of steel. We have a bovine of iron.
And him, simple 4 trips to bust.
Oh, did we show Amazonia?
Oh no, I don't think so.
There we go.
Yeah. So there's gonna be an audio version and a video version as well.
Awesome.
Yep.
So for audio listeners, you need to watch the video because you're missing out.
Right.
Because it's not like the character illustrator is here or anything.
And then we have Copperman, where once you play a combo card, then you discard all the
Marvelous
trips.
Expansion.
Oh, that is Marvelous Expansion.
For League of Just Us, next is Witchadidja.
Yep.
Our Indiana Jones Batman hybrid.
Then we have Bull Hockey, who's a magician throwing cards, who doesn't miss. So the whiffs turn to hits, which is awesome. For him only. Then we have Copperman, now into the Marvelous
Expansion. Yeah. Copperman.
So when you play a combo, you discard all your previous trip cards, which is pretty awesome. Commander Kokomo, which is kind of like a frat boy military guy there.
Yep.
He's once per game, you get an additional shield.
He has a vibronium frisbee.
Then we have Angermang, where he's awesome. He seems entirely overpowered. If you draw a hit times 3, it's doubled. It becomes a hit times 6.
Nice.
But there's only 2. And then finally, Blue Stealer, where anytime he gets damage, it's -1 hit.
Who's kind of our Hulk and Wolverine, respectively, Angermang.
Yep.
And there's a promo.
Yep, and then we have a promo character, Death Lake.
The water with the wine. There's no mark with the mouth.
And then his once per turn, on any turn, you can choose to discard every card you've played and restart your turn, basically.
Well, and then the League of Just Us also comes with a promo.
The Crybonite.
My favorite card.
Trip times 3.
It's just, it's a fail.
Yeah, instant fail. It's so beautiful. So yeah, those are the base character expansions, and we just announced an all-female pack.
Yeah,
Which
that's
has,
the one I've been waiting on.
Yeah, there's
Girl Power,
Lighthouse, Necronomica,
Black Mambo,
the dancer,
yeah, and the Professor.
The Professor, yeah, and they're gonna be an all-girl pack. We're still playtesting, and the wording is gonna be a little bit different. But generally speaking, if you want to see it, I just updated on the Kickstarter page, and I'll be doing that as well. So yeah, a lot of expansions planned, and we have more planned in the works right now as we hit certain stretch goals. We're going to be announcing more and more characters, more abilities, more accessories.
For those watching at home, not if, when.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
It's already out of control.
Now, now with all you saying you have a bunch of stretch goals and stuff planned, and you already have things in the works. Do you approach that with some trepidation? Because like your goal wasn't huge. It's it's a deck of cards with a box. So you're like, okay, cool. I need this amount of money. But Kickstarter being what it is now, people are like, oh, well, that's cool. I'll wait and see what kind of stretch goals they have. Like it becomes sort of that. Well, I can buy it at the store, or I'm going to back this for less money and give me a ton of stuff. So is there like, how far do we go? At what point does this come, cost prohibitive if we're going to offer, the moon and the stars?
Well, the good thing is, yeah, you're right. I mean, it's something you have to worry about legitimately. We've worked it out so where, since everything is generally a small print run, which we've gotten large print run quotes as well, so we know how to expand it if it gets to that point. But right now, we have, I think, a little over 30 backers that are helping us reach our goal. And even if we get more, we could easily just add on more expansions and add them on. We're using a pretty great company here in the United States called the Game Crafter, and they're a print-on-demand service. And so the stuff that they print, we're able to get and then receive and then bring out to all the other people. So it's less of do we need to make a minimum print order, and it's more of like, how many do we need to print, and click the quantity, click submit, and then we send it to our wonderful backers after that. So that's the good news. And I've used that company for prototypes, and I use it for selling my other games as well. So I absolutely love the way that they work. So, and it's really great quality.
Oh yeah,
components. Yeah,
great bunch of guys over there at Game Crafter telling you that company is
you can edit this out.
That's cool. And you also have some exclusive stuff. You've got metal cards for the characters. That's pretty cool. We don't normally see that on a smaller Kickstarter
I have them right here. It's hard to see because they also have the sleeves. It looks kind of dull. But
I do have matte ones again.
Yep. Okay. If anybody is familiar with like collectible card games or like foil cards and all that stuff, it looks almost the exact same on the front, except they are 100% aluminum with a polymer coating to prevent scratching.
Yeah. So
yep. So it's super shiny.
That shine is not from the sleeve. That shine is from the card.
Yeah. All 9 of the characters end up being like a pound of metal. It's so good.
Geez.
Yeah. Yeah. You could kill a guy with it. I swear, it's beautiful.
Hurt my hand.
Yeah. So we're doing those as an exclusive. You can pick your favorite character as a $5 add-on.
Yep.
For each character, or if you do all 8 of the 2 base expansion characters, then you get our 9th one, Death Lake for free.
Yeah.
So,
well, and at this point, I mean, the stretch goal, if we keep hitting stretch goals like this, it's not outside of the realm of possibility to add metal cards for future expansions as well and stuff. So just as it continues to go, we'll continue. Like if you keep paying for it, we'll keep making stuff. So,
there you go. Yeah. That's good. And I think you'd mentioned on the Kickstarter, like it's at the printer, it's ready to go. So like turnaround when it funds is not it's not one of those things where, okay, well, we'll talk to you in a year, we'll get stuff out of you. It's like a couple of months, right?
Our goal, we're looking for hopefully by Tabletop Day. We should have it. If not by like early May.
Yeah. The only thing that might set us back a little bit is just the fact that we are doing so many new expansions, and we have to make sure that we just have the art ready by then and ready to be printed. But we could do that while we're waiting from the Kickstarter payment and knock that out, no problem. So it's we're finishing playtesting for many of the expansions right now, and it's all just a matter of getting it to people who want to play it. So
cool. Now, Trevor, is this the first game you've designed art for, or are you an artist?
Yes.
Okay.
No, I grew up loving comics, watching comic book cartoons. I work at a comic book store in Las Cruces here. So I've just kind of always immersed myself into that nature. And I never really, I always liked to draw superheroes. That was my thing as a kid. And so I just kind of thought, my go-to was, wouldn't it be fun if? And so with Amazonia, for example, it was like, well, wouldn't it be fun if we had Wonder Woman, but also Sailor Moon? And so she's like the warrior princess kind of thing. And so her, all of the abilities too, what's really cool is because Danny is such a brilliant designer, they're all thematic. So she's a warrior princess. She prepares for battle. That's why you get to draw the top 3 and prepare your first draw. Blue Stealer is kind of our Wolverine-esque. So he takes -1 damage always, whether it's an opponent's or if he trips up, because he's got that healing factor. Beefy Dude was he's which my favorite part about the promo for the League of Just Us is the Krybonite being an immediate fail for anyone except for Beefy Dude, because he takes 4 trips to bust. Yeah. So we've got the Kryptonite and Superman, and he's the one person that isn't weak to it.
Right.
So yeah, it's the first time I've ever done art for a game. Most of my drawing has ever been just
boredom.
Yeah, boredom, doodles, things like that. I actually have the original cards with me, and it was something that I decided early on that I believe in our game enough that I did not pre-sketch. I took a Sharpie and blank white cards and put ink to paper. And so there was no mistakes, just happy accidents. So
nice.
Every single one was if a line goes out of place, that's it. It's there.
And then I fixed it all and
yeah. And then you went
like you do.
And fix them all. Yeah. That's
that's
funny.
cool. Yeah. Is there anything else going on with the Kickstarter that we should bring to the table? I saw you had an exclusive tier at $100 to get all the bells and whistles, which I saw were sold out. I was like, damn, that's sweet, because that was the best bang for your buck, right? It's $100, but you literally get everything.
Yeah, and that's one of the things we didn't mention about that pledge level is we want to say thank you to our super backers. And so as we unlock stretch goals, you don't pay a penny more.
Yeah,
it's
we're going to send you all
dead.
Extra expansions.
So right now, if you went a la carte and added everything, it comes out to $75 plus the $3 shipping.
80 now with the new expansion.
80 with the new expansion. So 83 when you add the shipping. And who knows, within the next day we could have another expansion. So just the add-ons keep adding up. But with the super backers, it's $100 flat, not a penny more, because you got in at that level.
Yep. And not only on top of that, we had an idea for a couple extra things we could throw in. It's how can we really make it worthwhile to the backers? And one of the ideas that we came up with is, well, why don't we sign stuff?
Yep.
I personally don't like signing things, but I will. And if people think that my signature is value and not devaluing their games, then sure, that's my appreciation to them. I probably won't sit and sign every card, but I'll certainly sign whatever you want me to. Unless they replace every card, then I might.
The running gag is Danny will tell people, I will happily deface and drop the value.
Drop the value of your game by signing it.
I tell them, and then I'll bring it back up by adding mine. So we'll balance.
And then on top of that, we're thinking, well, what else cool could we do? Because at our job at Zia Comics, we both demo games consistently, and that's one thing that we're really proud of. Is I'm a teacher as my full-time job, and then I teach games as my part-time job, and I love it. And so we're thinking, well, if we really want people to understand the game and have a good time, our super backers will do a Google Hangouts with you or a Skype call, Facebook Live, whatever, and we'll teach you the game.
Easiest for them.
Yeah.
In fact, one of our super backers, I asked him, I was like, so, like, you know, since you're here in person and you already backed at the super level, like, what works for you? Do you want to do Google Hangout? Do you want to do Facebook Live? What do you want to do? And he was like, I want a 15-minute dance video of you celebrating.
We'll do it.
I will make that playlist. No shame.
Yeah.
So expect that when the campaign wraps. Or don't.
Yeah.
Don't watch.
We are considering adding a few more super backer levels. We're not sure yet.
At some point in the campaign.
But, and of course, keep an eye out. If there's enough demand, which, I mean, it seems like we have possibly one more, hint, hint. But we'll take a look at it and see if there's enough demand, then yeah, we'll probably add some more, you know, because, man, everybody loves these metal cards. That's what gets everybody giddy, is slamming down chunky metal cards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think at Rincon you just had like scraps of paper right at that point. Like I don't think you had any of that stuff ready to go. So it's cool to see them, you know, in print. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Make use of that cardboard.
Yeah. If you ever opened up a booster pack of Dice Masters, the little protective rules card that it was blank on one side, that's perfect for prototyping.
Yep. Right.
So,
Sharpie and a Dice Master card.
Yep. Trim it to fit in the sleeve. It works.
They give us free prototype cards. What's not to love?
There you go.
Right.
Now, have you considered uploading any of the stuff to Tabletopia? I think that's the name of it, where you go in and virtually play, you know, different games. I don't know how complex that is if you have to like know the coding and stuff.
I downloaded Tabletopia. I don't have any experience trying it. I downloaded it and then I did not open it yet, because then I bought and downloaded Tabletop Simulator, which I've heard about before. And so I worked my way through it for about 4 or 5 hours just trying to find a way to upload it. So I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you can go to Tabletop Simulator, search for Hit Me, and be able to download the base set and be able to play it for free on there. So if you have Tabletop Sim, go get it. I'm pretty sure it works. I had one comment that just said broke, and I don't know if they were broke, if the link was broken, if they think the game is broken. I don't know. So oh yeah, I gotta go
context.
Yeah.
When it comes to comments.
Yeah. So I'll probably go email him and see what happened. But if it's like an uploaded file that maybe missed out, then I can fix that. So, but yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I've looked into it just to play games, and then it's, you know, get everything all set up, and I'm like, screw it, I'm gonna do this later, and I've never actually followed through and played anything.
Yeah, it was hard for me, because like that's one of the few situations where I've seen this game take a half hour, because I couldn't get my microphone to work, so I'm typing the instructions on how to play it to one person at a time, which they've been awesomely patient. And then I like just grabbing one card and then flipping it over and putting it on the table is about a 30-second task sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
Because you pull too long and you have the whole deck. And it's like, no, don't put it back. And
you're right.
Figure out where everything is. It worked, you know, and I'll probably still be doing more demos too for anybody who wants to try it. But it was something else to do.
So it sounds to me like what you're saying, Danny, is though the Tabletop Simulator version is free and playable, it's better to have a physical one.
Yeah,
it takes about 30 seconds to set up the physical one and about 2 minutes to play. So, you know, $10. That's the price of lunch. Skip lunch for a day and play Hit Me.
That's your Starbucks right there.
Yeah.
No, that's half a Starbucks right there.
Yeah.
Inflation.
It's a venti-sized version of Hit Me.
You're right. You should put that on the Kickstarter. That's awesome.
It's a venti-sized hit card game.
Why don't you call that the box? You can get the venti box.
Now you you guys work at the comic store at least part time and demo a bunch of games. What are your favorite games to play?
Okay.
Very differed.
We are extreme. So we do sometimes shows between us where we're arguing over top 10s and other games. Personally,
on Zia Comics YouTube.
at the store, I love playing Happy Salmon. I think that's one of the funnest games to watch people play and run around the store. And my boss gets mad at me because sometimes I knock over product, and it's so it's so wonderful. I like demoing timed games and like stuff like Flatline, Fuse.
Yep.
Any of the escape room ones. I love showing those to people. Escape.
Well, but like personally, not even necessarily the ones you demo, because you if I remember the question, you said what kind of games do we like to play, or was it more like
no play like at home if you get a chance to play at all?
Home games.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So not demo related. What kind of games do you usually play?
Euros, which is ironic because that's completely different than. I mean, I do like push your luck games. I do like.
I don't see it.
Deck builders, but yeah, Euros are probably my tried and true. I can play a good
Euros and abstracts.
Abstract strategy, yeah.
And lately, you've been doing a lot of Legacy.
Oh yeah, I play so much Legacy games. It's ridiculous. it's almost sad now. It's like why are you buying all these games to enjoy and tear up? It's like you don't understand. It's a real thing. It's beautiful.
Yeah, this is literally what I ask every time. He's like, "Yeah, I got Charterstone." I mean, if you want me to come over and tear up your cards, I will. I guess.
I will convince him.
Yeah.
To tear up my cards.
For me personally, it's a lot of storytelling games. Mice and Mystics is one of my favorites. Ashes, Rise of the Phoenixborn, also really good. I'm
Also
a big
storytelling
fan
game.
of Plaid Hat games right now. Like that's kind of my jam lately. I also like scenario-driven games, like the Ninja Turtles one is pretty high up there. Second only to Hit Me. I'm shameless. So I tend to do like a lot of storytelling, RPG in a box kind of games, because that's what I like. I kind of I came into this through improv. For years and years and years, I did improv and acting and all that stuff. And then through finding out about like RPG style games, storytelling games, I came into board games and was like, oh, there's so much out there, because it's been 5 years, 6 years now, because we're in 2018, to just kind of like see that it's more than Clue and Monopoly.
Yep. Yep.
There's a huge world of games now. Like I grew up playing Parcheesi and all that kind of stuff. Millborns, and it's like, what board? Like, what are these things now?
Wait, you don't play Parcheesi anymore? I mean, I have a good set over there.
I haven't played Parcheesi in probably 25 years.
If you want a really good roll and move game, I'm going to tell you right now. If you want a modern good roll and move game, I really like Rattlebones. Personally, but if you want a good older roll and move game, either Senate or the Royal Game of Ur, and those are like two of the oldest games, but they're so fun.
I think they officially said that Ur is the oldest game.
Senate is
Senate
3500 BC, I believe.
Yeah.
So didn't have dice invented, so you roll sticks.
Nice.
I love it. Yeah.
For audio listeners, we don't usually talk in stereo like this.
You're right.
Kind of weird. It's like we're finishing each other's sandwiches.
I was not going to lead into that.
He left you. He left you.
That was an underhanded pitch, man. That's like you go for a high five and they look at you and go, no.
It's like that hockey.
No,
The guy sitting on the bench and he goes to like high five the guy and he doesn't look at him, so he looks at his fist and he bumps his gloves together.
Right.
Fine, I'll high five myself.
I just picked up Through the Desert for Christmas. I pre-spent Christmas money. I picked up that and something else. I remember what I bought. I think I got the expansion for Eminent Domain.
Oh, nice. Right.
or
Seth
one of
Jaffe.
them anyway. Yeah.
Nice.
I got a chance
Through the
to see
Desert's
that.
fun.
Yeah. Did you get the new one or the older
I did.
one?
I got the one from Z-Man Games, the reissue.
Oh, I am envious. So about a year ago, there was like a clearance sale. I won't say what company it was, but it was a board game company doing a clearance sale of about no, they were doing a bunch of used games, and they weren't their product. It was a completely different companies. They're like, we just had these old games
We
in
have
the warehouse.
things, we have shelves, they need to be empty.
Yeah, exactly. So they threw a picture of a bunch of cool games, and one of them was Through the Desert. I was like, okay, I'm there. I'll order it. So I ordered that bundle, and I got Through the Desert in the mail. It was missing the board.
Oh,
And I contacted him. I was like, so I kind of know where this is gonna go, but I just want to say, if you find the board, can you throw me a message? But they're like,
No.
dude, we don't even produce that game. I'm sorry. They're like, but if we find the board, we'll keep you in mind. But if it's not in the box, there's no way it's anywhere around here. Maybe they
wow,
broke
that's
it.
messed up.
Yeah, but I have a bunch of like pastel camels, so that's cool. I could use them in my games and
Now you
part them
just
out.
part it.
Yeah,
You just break it down for parts.
Yeah,
like I've been
That's
meaning
true.
to make a camel themed game.
there you go.
Call it my humps.
Right. No, I have to pick up Tigris and Euphrates now because I have Samurai. So if I pick up Tigris and Euphrates, I'll have the tile laying trilogy as
Right.
it's so called. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And then you could go from there and then get like the new tile laying trilogy of like Patchwork, Barren Park. Is Barren Park one of them? No,
I played Barren Park before. It reminded me of Patchwork quite a bit.
yeah. There's 3 by the same designer, Uwe Rosenberg.
Yeah.
Feast of Odin, I think, was one of them as well. But he did 3 of them that all use similar tiles. And yeah, that's the new tile laying is Tetrominoes.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
We were talking, pre-interview about Euros. You had an interesting story in regards to Euro gaming.
So yes, so amongst the prototype night, I've came up with some of the weirdest. I wanted to tell you about these because I haven't told people online, but I wanted to tell you about some of the concepts that I've been coming up with lately. And one of them is a Euro game. I'm working on a medieval Euro game that has about 200 cards. It has a really neat dice drafting mechanism where you're shifting different colors of dice in the courtyard, which is a 4x4 grid.
We should call it King Me. We'll just make a series of me games.
Yeah, just games about myself.
Just
and then-
me.
Yeah.
It's blank me. King Me. Hit me. We've got a whole line.
Yeah,
Product line.
the me line.
Stay tuned.
And so I've been working on that Euro, and that's been taking me a couple months now, and I'm still working on it.
Yeah, but I mean, the heavier the game is, the more play testing
Yeah.
goes into it. Like with Hit Me, it was in development for what, like a year and a half, I think.
Hit Me?
Yeah, wasn't it? Did you come up with it in 2017?
Hit Me was this summer.
That's right.
Yeah. Or no, maybe it was
Man,
a little.
that feels like
it was
it's
fast.
been.
Well, I'm sorry playing my game feels that long, but
Well, no, it's been a long road to get to here, and now it's like.
yeah, it's hitting all of this
Yeah.
at once. No, that was about a half-year development. That wasn't too bad because it was such an easy filler game. But so one of the games I wanted to tell you about, I originally was making that as my Euro game, but because it's prototype night, it's a good excuse for me to make just absolute absurd ideas for games and watch people play them. So I was thinking, there's no good football games. Like everything is either dice and stat rolling or random chance games.
Mhm.
I haven't seen a good
Or miniatures games like a Blood Bowl.
Blood Bowl. Yeah.
That's, you know, you've got the ruler for how far your guy ran.
Right. And I thought like the beauty of the sport football, I'm not a football fan, but I appreciate it just fine. And the beauty of it is the chaos that happens as soon as the ball is hiked. So I made a game where you have a large felt mat, that's the board, and each of the 10 yards is the spacing of a card, and you're flipping the card over on itself as running it, and it's all real time. You're flipping cards on top of each other as they're tackling. And then at some point you can call stop, and you can try and kick the ball like finger football through the goal. You can't tell me that's not fun.
That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, and I had like grown men giggling like schoolgirls the entire time, while schoolgirls were watching them laughing also because they're like, "Why are
You're
they
right.
getting
For a whole
excited?"
different reason.
Yeah, exactly. And then I'm working on a prototype right now. That's about
Oh,
worshiping a volcano, and so you're all racing to the top of this volcano. You're a tribe, and you're bringing other people there to make the volcano god happy. I won't say what you're doing with them, but they happen to be on the island, and you're bringing them up there to the top to visit the volcano god. And
the offerings are perhaps chaste, one could say.
yeah, and so yeah, it's like such a ridiculous game, and I built a 3D board for it that's basically a bunch of box lids, and they're like nesting and they overlap on each other, and the corners that overlap everything, that's the spaces of the board that you're climbing up. So it has a really cool 3D mechanism to
Yeah,
it.
you literally build like a tower out of like Russian nesting dolls. They just stack on top of each other and make this like cubic volcano.
Yeah, cubic volcano. That's a good way to say it. Yeah.
Hey, I just came up with the next name for it.
You're right.
Yeah. So that's been my Euro games because I feel like I've been producing too many filler games lately. So I decided to really focus on my medieval games. Well, no, but I mean, after I've released Hit Me, and then I've released Driving Me Crazy, and then For Meepable Opponents, and then Back Alley Bandits, all of those games play under a half hour.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, they're pretty straightforward, but, and Hit Me is the shortest of all of those, and it plays, and so I decided to work on an actual big game in case people think I'm just, a filler gamer. But yeah.
Is there a different mindset to go from, a shorter filler style game to, a heavier, bigger box game?
Oh yeah, because when I do bigger box games, like I don't know if you remember Candidate Land. I think I showed you it way back. Yeah, my political deck building game that nobody's played since the election. Who knew? Yeah, who knew? Whenever I get into a game like that, I do hours and days and weeks of research. So for this medieval game, I've been researching like different medieval towns to possibly base it off of how peasants and lords lived at the time. So like the political game, I researched every single president and like the history of politics and democracy in the United States. And yeah, it's a whole different mindset, where in Hit Me, it's like, how do you research being punched in the face?
You're right.
Well, I grew up a nerd, so I know it a little bit, but
I mean, then there's always kind of the comic book nerd sounding board that he could bounce stuff off, just like so like this could be like this character. I'm like, oh, so like we could do like Batman for always has the thing prepared that he needs. Yeah, we can make it that character.
Yeah, it's like Bat who? What? I don't.
Right.
Not familiar with that guy.
So you didn't bring that Hit 3 with you, did you?
Yeah. See what he did there? What you did anyway.
What you did there.
Yeah.
Ray Charles saw what I did there.
Yeah, so we have just some absurd stuff, and then so keep an eye out for that Euro game. Hopefully, it's a working title. Medieval Game is the working title at the moment. I don't actually have a name for it, but
until I convince him to go with King.
Yeah, there you
go.
We'll see.
Yeah. That's cool. And I think at RingCon you said you'd sold a couple of games since the last time I talked to you.
Yeah. So
that was the other filler. Was Tie Dice.
Tie Dice, yes.
Gotta talk about Tie Dice.
But the first one I'll talk about is I sold a pack of abstract games that by themselves, like, you would have to spend like $20 or $30 for, and it was a real quick, simple game that didn't have like beautiful pieces or anything like that. It was just more of a concept, but the games themselves were really fun, and I made a series of 5 of them. And Playford Games just picked it up, and they make either really awesome war games or abstract strategy games, which is really cool. And so I got to meet the owner of that at Gamma this year, and he picked up the whole collection of 5 to be putting into some of his abstract. I think they're called like the Ancient Games, or the name is
You told me it was
Ancient Treasure Chests, something like that.
Yeah.
And they're a compilation of that, and he has a big book, and so 5 of those are going to be in there. I think 3 of them in this one: Inuit, Stella, and I think one more. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. And then Tie Dice. So that might not be the ending title. Quick, Simple, Fun Games picked it up, and so I'm going to be. I don't know how much I'm allowed to say.
Yeah, so it's the company that's done like Veggie Garden, Russian Bash,
Muse,
Celestia,
Hanamakoji, the American printing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have so much good stuff. And yeah, the workers there, they're just awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And so they picked up my dice game. And so we don't know what the final theme is, but originally it was a tie-dye theme because, I like heavy themes. And yeah, and nobody else has made a tie-dye game before, except surprisingly not Andy Looney. He is not, which really surprises me.
I don't think he owns a non-tie-dye shirt.
Yeah,
I know.
I think it's only tie-dye. I think it is. I've never seen him without tie-dye. So, I gave a copy of that to him at Gamma this year. I was like, this is a token of appreciation. You guys are awesome. So,
who doesn't love a good game of Flux?
Yeah, right. And so, they're going to be printing that hopefully sometime this year. And I'll be sure to let you know as soon as I find out. So, yeah.
Cool.
Hopefully by Gamma. I'm really hoping. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, congrats on getting a couple of games sold. That's really cool. Like, it's cool that you have them up on GameCraft. People can buy them. They're out there. Hit Me's funded. People can order that. But it's cool to be like, hey, someone else, like someone in the industry is like, this is cool, and you did a good thing, and we want it, and we're gonna sell it. Like that's got to be such an awesome feeling as a designer.
Yeah, it's rewarding to say the least, because it's not just rewarding, it's validating,
Mm-hmm.
all this work that I've been going to, it's like, finally, like people are seeing what I'm trying to do here. And when I when I sold these to the publishers and they sat down with me and took time out of their busy schedules to sit down and they played it and they're like, whoa, I see what you're doing here. This is cool, and they had fun playing it. Oh, that's validating. It's beyond validating. So yeah. Cool. I highly encourage everyone to try it sometime. It's really good.
So Vince and I actually made a board game in 1997, and at that time there was no Kickstarter, there was no, any of this kind of stuff. So we submitted through an agent and the whole thing, and they were like, "Nope, we don't want that." And it looks like this game, this game, this game, and I'm like, "That's kind of the point." It was like a Risk style. Scenario. I'm like, well, that's what we're emulating to do. Yeah. And now, like, all these years later, they have, like Medieval Risk and all these other games. Are like, well, shit. Like, I think we did that already. Like,
right? Yeah, it's all a matter of being at the right place at the right time, right? It's.
Yeah,
and I know I've made
Candidate land knows that.
Yeah, my political deck building knows that all too well. That was about a day late.
You gotta strike while the iron's hot, and if you miss the boat, she has set sail.
Yeah,
hope you enjoy the shore.
So maybe Candidate Land will be released around what it would be 2020, I guess. It would be the next selection. We'll see.
Who knows? Maybe it'll be the 20th game from No Cash Value Games.
Maybe.
Because our games are priceless. You heard it here first. Myth confirmed.
There you go.
Right.
Well, that's good. It's timeless, right? So, like, it's already done. So, like, every election, you're like, hey, what about this one?
Yep. And so I didn't tell you about, I think you saw the game as its basis, but I don't think I'm still working on the expansion. 45 unique character abilities that you play with throughout the whole game. One for every president we've ever had. And so I had to spend countless
Possibly
hours
including
researching.
The present.
Yeah, it's all 45. And if you throw a president at me, I might be able to remember them and tell you what they did. But like one of my favorites was Gerald Ford. He doesn't have a character ability because he was never elected. He's the president, so it's like, he's a great guy, I'm sure, but like no character.
My personal favorite was William Howard Taft.
Oh, William Taft. So yeah, the way his character worked, it was pretty simple. You have little character meeples, candidate meeples, and you're moving them amongst the states to campaign there, and you get a bonus for doing that. You get like it costs less votes to buy the states. Well, the thing is, Taft, he gets a big bonus for being on a state. He gets -2 votes, which is more than anybody else. But his meeple doesn't move; it stays where it is. So
Because he was the certainly not the most svelte of our commanders in chief.
Right.
yeah,
Taft.
yeah, his was pretty good. And then William Henry Harrison, he's a good example. Him, you take 3 turns at the beginning of the game, back to back, and then you discard his card. So he might have been a good president, but you never know past the 3rd turn. So
Yeah, that's funny. Well, man, that's a lot of work going into like obviously everybody knows it's work to design a board game, come up with a theme, do the mechanics, all that kind of stuff. But like that's like a whole other level of researching American history so I could come up with a power for a character card.
Right, exactly. No, like watching a 20-minute excerpt on an ex-president to try and figure out what is he best known for. And there's so many presidents, like Zachary Taylor.
Yeah.
Like, what do you know about him, right?
I loved him in Home Improvement.
Yeah. He was a great actor. No, it was just there was no good way to get some of them, because even like the historians were like, yeah, this president, he was number 14, and then Abraham got elected, and let me tell you about him.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what? Like, how do I make a card out of this? But for a while I was working on a game about New Mexico ghost towns, and I purposefully drove to a lot of them to just try and get a historical background and how their economics became a ghost town.
In some cases, drove past.
In some cases, drove past and didn't notice it.
Some of them, the
Yeah,
roads
vroom.
don't go there anymore.
Yeah, it's like, wait, there's a ghost town there? There was. Even the ghost town's a
There's
ghost
a
town.
stick in a field now.
Yeah, you don't want to trust that stick.
Yeah.
Here lies Derry.
Ray has a couple of people that live there. Not many, but
Not for long.
so bad. Yeah, but so yeah, that's the level of commitment I try and do. For the filler games, I enjoy doing them, but yeah, it's they're more like hey, I made this awesome stuff, like hit me, but I didn't have to research for it. So
it's the difference between a snack and a meal.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need a snack.
Yeah.
You're not hungry, you just want a snack. Versus sometimes you just want a good meaty, a steak. So hit me's a box of fries, and things like excavate and candidate land or steaks.
Yeah.
For sure. And you're gonna, like, for me, I'm all over the map. Like, I love a filler game. I like a Euro. I'll play almost anything. Like, it's funny. I'll see things sometimes come across Twitter, and people are like, "Oh, I just picked up blah blah." And I'm like, I don't know. That doesn't seem fun. Like, just to see the pictures, maybe see description. Like, I don't know. I don't get it. And Lanterns was like that for me initially when I saw it. I'm like, maybe, I guess it could be fun. But I picked it up, and I enjoy it. And my parents it's one of the few games my parents will play. So that one's worked out really well. So I'll just pick up anything. I do really like abstract games.
Yeah.
I'll do the Euros, but area control, abstract, like the Kinesia games are just a ton of fun. Samurai and Through the Desert and stuff like that. Even like Seven Ronin or like Hexagony or like any of those sorts of things. Like I'm in for all that, and a lot of it's 2-player stuff because I'll do a lot of games with my brother. So it's like screw you, I beat you again. Like
one determined winner.
Yeah.
No, I'm like the exact opposite way. When it came to Lanterns, I was like, man, that looks boring as sin. That's right up my alley. I had that expectation. It's like, that looks like totally something I would enjoy, and I ended up going, I mean, I see the appeal, but I didn't end up enjoying it as much as I thought I would have because it looks so awesomely boring. But it's like that's the kind of games I love.
It's actually a fun game.
Yeah.
See, Danny likes horrible, boring games. I like fun ones.
Yeah. I mean, I like it. It's just that I don't know. When I first played it, I was like, "Oh, okay. I guess it's okay."
What?
I don't. There hasn't been very many games that I've picked up that I haven't enjoyed. Like, oh man, I wish I didn't get that game. You know what I mean? Like, I'm willing to play it. And there's games that we play a lot of. Like, we'll play Eminent Domain at any point. We'll play Splendor thousands of times. You know, even without the I got the expansion for it to spice it up a little bit.
Yep.
But we love it, you know, and it's that escalation. A lot of times we do 2 players, so screw you, I'm getting that card or whatever. Like I don't know, I love it.
No, Splendor's amazing.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. When I saw that, I'm like, that's up my style. That looks awesome. And yeah, that Splendor ended up.
That's actually one of the few times that I agree on. Like, yeah, that's a good Euro.
Yeah.
Other ones, Alhambra, it's okay.
Alhambra's amazing.
Catan, it's okay.
Sounds pretty good.
All lies.
Well, have you guys played Century Spice Road, and how do you feel that it compares to Splendor? Do you like it as much, not as much, the same?
I haven't played it yet. I want to though. Have you heard of
Which
Century Spice
one?
Road? It's basically like the next level up of Splendor.
Okay. I've heard the name. I haven't actually seen anything about it yet,
Yeah.
but I've heard it mentioned.
Yeah.
We've actually gotten 1 or 2 requests for it
Mm-hmm.
in our store, and so it's like maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I'll probably end up buying it. I can probably vouch for it because it looks really good.
Yeah.
It's like it's a gamer Splendor. Like, because Splendor is pretty gateway.
Yeah.
But this is the next level up. So. Yeah.
See, I did not enjoy it as much.
No.
I played like twice at a con, and we just, the first time I was like, okay, we're trying to figure it out, and then we played again. I'm like, I felt like I didn't have enough agency in the way that the game worked out. Like with Splendor, like even, if someone takes the card that you want, you're still working towards like, okay, you're always trying to work for like 2 or 3 different cards. I felt like in Century Spice Road, you had less of an ability to do that because you're always changing this thing to something else, and it just didn't hit it for me. But I would totally play it again.
Yeah. Do you think it was just because you liked Splendor so much that it overcomplicated it, or do you think it was more that it was trying to do too much, or it was just fiddly, or?
I didn't think it was extra fiddly. I mean, it wasn't. I don't know. I don't think it was any. I mean, it's more complicated maybe than Splendor a little bit. I mean, but like by degrees. It's not like, oh my god, I don't understand how to play this game. But so you start with a card that you can play that'll give you 2 yellow cubes, or you can play a card that will allow you to pick up your other cards that were played already. And there are cards that will come out that will, give you 3 yellow cubes or 4 yellow cubes, but there's only a couple. And almost all of the other cards change cubes into other color cubes. And I felt like you didn't have enough, agency to like, okay, I play this card so I can get a green. There might be one, but like there's only one. And if someone else bids to it and takes it, you're never getting that card. So your only ability to get a green is to change your other colors, up the scale or down the scale to get what it is that you need.
So
it bugged me a little
did it
bit.
seem slow then?
What's that?
Did it seem kind of slow then? Is what it sounds like.
It wasn't wasn't even that it was necessarily slow. I just wasn't able to do the thing. It's like, okay, well, I can do 2 cubes again. I can do 2 yellow cubes again. It's like, okay, now I have to change it, which is fine. Like that's, the way that the game runs. But I felt like I wanted to be able to collect more of different things as opposed to, okay, I get 2 yellow cubes again.
Right.
Or I try to trade those up or down.
Yeah. If you want a good game about trading, and if you don't care about the theme, get Bazaar. It was an old 1960s game by Sid Saxon, and the whole game is you have 2 cards that tell you different kinds of conversions. So you can trade like 2 green tokens for 2 white, a red, and a yellow. And then on another card, you might be able to trade 1 yellow for 2 red. And then another one, you could trade like a blue for 3 green. And you're sometimes you'll actually trade more for less because you're buying these trade cards, and the most efficiently you do it is how you get points. So if I buy a trade card and I have 1 token left over, I'm going to get way more points than if I had 3 tokens left over. And I would get way more points if I have 0 tokens. If I buy it exactly, then that's what's cool about it. So that's what I suggest looking into. I think another company has it picked up right now, but I don't remember which one. So Bazaar, Bazaar,
like the
like
sales
a trading
place.
bazaar. Yeah, not like trading.
Right.
Yeah,
Bazaar, not bizarre.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah. That's a good one. From what it looked like, it seemed almost like Century Spice Road was kind of like trying to do that, but more gamery.
Yeah,
So.
that's kind of what it sounds like a little bit. Because ultimately you are purchasing cards that are worth, points, and some of them are worth an extra. They get a silver coin, gold coin, depending on where they fall out. So it sounds very similar to that.
Yeah, it probably is, honestly. So now I'm gonna have to research it more. You got me thinking about games again.
I didn't do no such thing. You're always thinking about games.
Huh?
I said I did
What's
no
that?
such thing. You're always thinking about games.
You're not wrong.
It's kind of now your job.
Yeah, it's kind of now my job.
Yeah.
At my other job today, I was sitting down. I was like, they're like, all right, you can take a break. Good. How can I work on this expansion? And I started jotting down character abilities. I'm like, this sounds good. They're like, oh, we have to pay attention now. Sorry.
Yeah.
You're right. Well, being a teacher, like I know there are some schools that'll, teachers will come in and they'll do like, D&D with the kids. Some of it's, just like, school activity, like we're playing games. Some of it's more of, we're trying to help kids navigate through life by D&D and or other games, not just D&D. Have you ever thought, or do you have some sort of a board gaming activity at school where kids can come in that either sort of helps you to play test games that you're working on, or to be like, hey kids, this is cool and this is something that you could do as a life thing. You could be a board game designer and let me kind of show you all these different games.
Yeah. I pitched that to my school recently, and we're probably going to be doing it next year as a board game design club. But right now I'm actually running a chess club, and we got 16 brand new chess boards, and we now compete in tournaments, and of course I'm running it, and people ask like, wow, you really like chess that much? And I say no, but it's an excuse for me to play board games all day. So I'm not complaining, and no, the kids love it. It's amazing to see like second graders like sit there and calmly like make moves and be good sports about it, because that's my goal with chess club, is not just teaching them how to play chess, teaching them how to play games, be good sports, and have a fun time, and then not being overly competitive and whatnot. So yeah, and some of them have really turned out to be just outstanding kids doing that. So yeah,
Cool,
that's been
awesome.
Yeah, and I plan on branching out to more game design too, because some of the kids they know that I do game design, and so some of them have played my games. One of my old students is actually a regular at our game nights, so
Cool.
she gets to make fun of beating up her teacher.
Nothing you can do about it. I'm out of your class now.
I know. I used to joke with her. I'm like, you forget, I used to grade your papers.
You're right.
I still have a hand in that. Be careful when you're moving that pawn.
And then she looks at him and goes, all right, so there were 16 hits. I will say.
Yeah. Well, I lost. Oh, well. That's really great.
Cool. Very cool. That's cool that you're able to do that and share that with the kids.
Yeah.
And get them to experience a different, like, school can be boring and it sucks and, whatever, but, to have that ability to do that. When we moved out here to Arizona, when we took my daughter into the, I don't want to say it was, I guess, grade school. I don't know. I forget how freaking grade she was in. But anyway, they were all excited that they finally got arts back into the school. Like, oh, we just added chorus last year. We're so excited. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, you didn't have an arts program? Holy crap. So, to have the ability to do board games in a club like that is really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's a big promotion. We thankfully do a lot of different after school programs, and I'm lucky to be part of it, doing board games. And I make like small little games that my kids will enjoy. So as they're learning from the games, hopefully they're learning something from my class.
You're right.
So, it works out well. I know there's like a couple other like video podcast player or people who are actually teachers as well, and they talk about like using games in the classroom. And me, I'm just like, oh, I'll design a game for a class. It's easy enough. Because I'm tired of I go to we ran a show for a while, a YouTube show called Bottom Shelf, and have I told you about Bottom Shelf, John?
I think we talked about that last time. It was like all the garbage games that you didn't play that you spotlighted.
The worst games we've ever played.
Yeah.
And some of them were intended to be educational.
Mhm.
And they were so infuriatingly bad. I can't imagine why anybody would willingly be part of it.
They were educational in the sense of like, can you educate me how much I can hate a game?
You're right.
Yeah. And that was the basis of it. Like we had one Changeover. I loathed that game. It was bingo, except you had to do metric to standard conversions.
Oh,
23 kilograms, bushel of apples. No. 2-liter bottle of soda. No. 12-gauge shotgun. No.
It's like, all right. And so it
just start guessing.
Yeah. And then so it's like there's no game here. It's homework. This is awful. We played one game called like the Millionaire Makers game, where it's trying to teach you how to be like a financer at the same time. And so we were filling out like legitimate spreadsheets and tax deductions and like as we were playing this game. And then we finished it, I was like, wow, I learned nothing. That was awful. Like, I mean, I understand how to do all this and I know how to balance a budget. But now you're adding in made up numbers that somehow make me a millionaire. No, I see the fault in this. And
right.
so
It wasn't nearly as good as Twilight Eclipse, the movie, the game.
well, thankfully that was not educational. Yes, we played that live in front of an audience at a convention.
And I had to flip the board into the audience.
Yeah, Twilight Eclipse, the movie, the board game. That's
the winner's reward in the series. Is if you win, you get
flip
to
the
board flip.
nice.
Yeah, it was so many bad games. And so I see these games that are educational. And they're like, you have a 10-pack of these board games to teach kids math. It's like, no, that's giving them homework and disguising it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've played this with these kids, and most of them don't enjoy this.
It's like saying, oh, I put cheese sauce on broccoli. Look, it's delicious now. It's at the end of the day, it's still broccoli.
Yeah.
Like, why don't you just give me the cheese?
Like, why are you feeding me garbage, Mom? Stop feeding me bad games.
You're right.
Yeah, it's so bad. I don't know how to describe it, but I'm glad I could be a part of putting good games into schools. So, thankfully,
Hopefully, kids will learn that it's not okay to fight in the classroom or on the playground. better to hit me.
Oh,
what you have to
in a game.
Right.
Cue 80s credits. Da 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 da.
you're where you got to put the sunglasses on. And, wah!
I know, right?
Wait.
Oh God, you made him get the sunglasses. I mean, I can't fault you. You didn't know they existed.
So, I think it's safe to say, kids at home, that you shouldn't hit your classmates, because instead you can always hit me.
So what's fair use? Can I use like 3 seconds of that riff, maybe?
I don't think "hey" is copyrighted.
The word "hey."
Well, no, I was going to throw the guitar riff behind that.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, you probably could.
I have a piano back here. It's not plugged in. It'll work.
I think you can get away with the opening riff. I think usually like 5 seconds is the threshold.
Something like that.
So
I hope so, because I use music occasionally in the actual place.
excellent.
There you go. Oh man,
shit.
I apologize. I hope this has not become your weirdest interview because I'm guessing it's pretty close.
You mean that
No,
wasn't?
this is good. This is what we do. It's just essentially hanging out and bullshitting and talking about whatever's going on. So, yeah, it works.
I told you how amazing this guy is. This is a great podcast. I love this.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Legends of Tabletop. Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
I want to make sure I had it right.
Yeah.
Because I did put a post on social media of us filming for the interview.
Yeah.
On the Well Played Facebook and shared it through all the other stuff. So I was like, I want to make sure I got the name of the channel right before I. Yeah. So
that's always helpful.
Right. Yep. And please email me the link so I can put it on my Kickstarter as well, and I can say everything about it.
Definitely. I will email it to you when we wrap up.
Awesome. Very good.
Cool. And speaking of, I guess we should probably start rolling into the end here. Is there anything else you want to throw out before we put a nail on this thing?
Other than the obvious plugs that we've done already, please go support us on Kickstarter. I know we're just a small company coming up with some pretty cool games, but this leads to more games. Check out any other games that I've made on the Game Crafter.
It's under Daniel McKinley Games.
Daniel McKinley Games.
Yep.
Like me on Facebook. Listen to more Legend of Tabletop as the podcast.
And $90 from Stretch Goal 2.
Oh
wow, that close right
We're
now.
at $14.10.
Whoa. So we've gotten backers just by us being here. So thank you, John.
I hope so.
Thank you, sir. Oh, I'm sure of it. I'm positive this was it. So I'm not gonna check to confirm. I'm positive it was.
We'll just go with that. It sounds good.
Well, I mean, you've been a tremendous help to me in my games, and I always look forward to seeing you at conventions and hanging out. And one of these days, I'll do an actual like one of my next games. I'll be like, join me on the podcast, and I'll actually teach you through the podcast alone.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, that definitely be cool. Yeah, I try to tell people, when I buy games at Isle of Games is one of the local stores here in Tucson, and that's where I go and spend my money, and you get them cheaper online, and I understand that, and that works better for people, because you work hard for your money, so you want to make sure you got something to put away. But if you enjoy games and you enjoy independent games and independent designers, you gotta get out there and support them. You gotta put your $10. $10 gets you the base game. It's nothing, like you said. It's half a venti.
Yeah.
Exactly. And also on top of that, and if you're going to like the game, and if you have friends that are going to like it, we have a retailer level as well.
Yeah.
So tell your stores too. Say you could buy a case of this.
Yep.
We'll send it to you.
And there's possibly even something really cool that we might do for stores.
Yes.
If you back it.
Yeah. That involves promos and awesome stuff. So yes.
You didn't hear it from me, but you might get to put your logo in the game.
Yeah.
Shh.
No. What?
Huh?
Glucies.
Yeah, let's put those games behind me. By the way, you like my shelf of shame?
These are all
These are the unplayed games right now. I still have unplayed half.
Most people, when they put a wall of games behind them, it's all impressive. And like, look at all the stuff I've played. Not here. This is look at things that I don't know if it's good or crap.
And I don't have any games behind me. I have all books.
Yeah, my books are right over here. You can't.
And you
see
haven't read a single one, right?
I've read.
I read that one.
Maybe 3/4 of them. Yeah. I don't know. There's a bunch on there. I'm sure I haven't read yet.
Do you want me to instantly make you feel better about this?
Oh.
I think you remember what's in the closet behind me, right?
Yeah.
All the playing cards. I have since gotten a shelf. I'm going to show you real quick. My dog is in the way. Let's see here.
Look
at
at
the
dog.
shelf. That's about 500 of the decks. There we go.
Holy cow!
Just a small portion.
There's my dog. One of them.
Or another puppy.
Yeah.
We got kitties and puppies on the podcast. Excellent.
So yeah. So we're nerding out really good over here.
Awesome.
But thank you for having us over. Thanks for letting us
Yeah.
rant for way too long.
Yeah.
And hopefully more people will back us on Kickstarter too.
I hope so.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. Like I said, people get out there, support your indie game designers, your authors, all the stuff that you like. If you go out and support it, there'll be more of it. If you don't want to,
Exactly.
Well,
buy into the Hollywood stuff and all the the mass produced, mass market stuff. And you're like, I could do better than that. Well, there's people doing better than that, and you got to get out there and support them, or all that stuff goes away.
I mean, who knows? Depending on how well this goes, you might just see a no cash value games next to an AEG at your next Gen Con or whatever.
Yep, you never know.
That's
you
it.
never know.
But we'll have Danny as the next Reiner Knizia. Next time you come on, you'll be like, I designed like 400 games last year.
Get that on a business card now.
I know. The other game designers at our prototype night have told me, they're like, yeah, I've been working on this game for like 3 years. It's like, oh, I made 3 games this year. I don't.
Yeah, and here I am trying to make myself humble because like, it took like a year and a half of development for Hit Me?
No. About a week.
No,
I'm just kidding.
It was designed overnight and play tested a few times, and really that's just because I was taking my sweet time on the art. It's been ready since like August. Drawing's hard.
I will take your word for it because I can't do it at all. So
neither can I. So don't worry.
Yeah.
That's why. Well, thanks again, John. I really appreciate you having me on the podcast.
Yes,
I really
thank
do.
you so much.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure having you guys on. It's always fun to get a chance to hang out. And I was glad to see you at RenCon this year. I wasn't sure if you were coming. So when you'd walked up to the table, I was like, oh, cool. Somebody else I know.
Yep. And expect to see me again. I will be back.
I will be there as well.
Awesome.
Cool. All right. So if you like this interview and all of our other cool stuff, click the like, the subscribe, tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell your mom. We're all over the place. Yep. We're Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, you name it. We're probably there. So check us out on all those locations. If you haven't tried the coffee, please do that. If you go to tinyurl.com/legendary brew, because that's an easier website to remember than the one that Neil put together. But check out the coffee. The coffee is awesome. I got 2 bags just like right after Christmas. So I'm getting ready to tear into a new bag there. It's really good. We don't have the labels yet, so it doesn't look all flashy and awesome, but the coffee is great. So we want to thank you for doing, listening and subscribing and doing all the things. I appreciate that. And thanks for checking us out, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks again.
Bye-bye.